When a person takes the Jesuit oath, he is bound to his master until the day he dies. Edward Smith has become a man without will or intelligence. He would commit any crime the order wanted him to commit. Edward Smith had been required for martyrdom. On board the Titanic that night, Edward Smith knew his duty. He was under oath. The ship had been built for the enemies of the Jesuits. After 3 days at sea with only one pair of glasses for the bridge, Edward Smith propelled the Titanic full speed ahead, 22 knots on a moonless dark night through a gigantic ice field. Nearly 80 miles square in area. Edward Smith did this despite at least 8 telegrams warning him to be more cautious because he was going too fast. Did Edward Smith need one caution? No. He had been traveling those waters for 26 years. He knew there were icebergs in that area. But 8 cautions did not stop this man who was under the Jesuit oath and under orders to destroy the Titanic. The absurdity of warning veteran Captain Edward Smith repeatedly on Titanic's tragic night to slow down is nothing short of preposterous. The fact that Smith never listened or heeded the warnings is insane. He had been given orders from his God in the Vatican, and nothing would turn him from his course. The encyclopedians paint a very tragic picture of Smith in his last hours. When it came to give the order to load and lower the lifeboats, Smith wavered, and one of his aides had to approach him for the order to be given. Smith's legendary skills of leadership seemed to have left him. He was curiously indecisive and unusually cautious of that fatal night. Are these words to describe a legendary sea captain with 26 years of experience? Or are these words to describe a man who was struggling in his mind whether he could do his duty as a sea captain or obey his master who told him to sink the ship? John Jacob Astor's wife got into a lifeboat and was saved, while John Jacob Astor perished in the waters of the North Atlantic. There was not enough lifeboats, and many of them were only half full with only women and children. To prevent nearly fighters from responding with help, the distress flares were put off as white flares instead of red. When you put white flares in the air, it means that you're having a party, so nobody knows that there's a disaster happening. One of the greatest tragedies of the 20th century, the sinking of the Titanic, lies at the door of the Jesuit order. The unsinkable ship, the floating palace, was created to be the tomb for the wealthy who opposed the Federal Reserve System. By April 1912, all opposition to the Federal Reserve was eliminated. In December of 1913, the Federal Reserve System came into being in the United States. 8 months later, the Jesuits had sufficient funding through the Federal Reserve Bank to begin World War I. May God add a rich blessing to the reading today.